Hello, Assalamu alaikum. uh, I would like to talk about my dialogue with uh, let me see if Neil. I have forgotten his channel's name. Let me see. Last night I had a dialogue with gnostic informant. I hope that I pronounce it correct. Gnostic informant, and that was a nice dialogue we had about Islam. Uh, First, sorry, I play this. Yes, and it was satisfied, satisfying for both of us. And Neil liked it too, and I liked it too. And we were talking about Islam, of course, and then Neil is an atheist, and he had questions that maybe was the, and I tried to answer them, but some of them, of course, was new for him, difficult for him to understand, and something which I wanted to talk about now is that he was asking that we know that many things we know that is bad, so why we need religion? At that time, I didn't come to this. Because questions comes after questions, so you forget. And I wish that I will have another dialogue with him later. But anyway, he was saying that why we need, for example, we know that stoning, killing, such things is bad. Why we need God or religion for to teach us. And the thing is that unfortunately people see their their current that they see today in the 21st century how people live, despite it is not ideal even today. Not so long time ago, people were slaughtering each other in Europe, Germans, because of their their terrible ideology, which was Nazi ideology. They were massacring other people, and so anyway, today, of course, is much better, but still we have a lot of problems. Many people don't care; they just easily can kill you, like those drug cartels in Latin America. They do whatever, for gaining some money. And yeah, I remember that I this movie. By the way, I have put a link here. If anybody would like to join me, that would be great. I hope Black Mamba will appear. And I was watching this a little bit of this movie. What is it's called Apocalypto. Yeah, Apocalypto. Sorry, which was directed by Mel Gibson, and it is of course based on you know, reality, that how it was a few thousand years ago in America, those parts, how these barbarian people were living. I would like to share the video a little bit, some parts, to see how barbarian they were, and you see why we needed God to teach us that these things are bad. We didn't know. Today we know, yeah, but we didn't know that time. Yeah, you see that uh, how barbarian they were, and unfortunately, uh, people don't think deep that these people, today we don't need it, maybe, yes, there are such a things we know already. But who taught us? Religion. God taught us, and it passed, generation to generation to us, and taught us that such a thing is barbaric, and now we know it. But that time we didn't know it. Okay, it is too graphic. Yeah, I think it's more than enough to understand that it wasn't like this always. Okay, and yes, we were a bunch of barbarians. We know that even Romans, Greeks, Egyptians, they had a lot of slaves, and they would put these slaves, use them in Rome and Greece. They would use them as gladiators, and these gladiators, they were killing each other, you know, doing a lot of terrible barbaric acts against each other, and people were cheering, enjoying. Wow, great! So how they kill each other. And in Egypt also, they were 100,000, as I heard, more than 100,000 slaves were killed for building those pyramids in the most barbaric, situation. But a great proof that religion changed all these, God changed all these, is Persia. Persia was a great empire as well, 2,500 years ago. We had a great king, Cyrus the Great. He occupied the entire today's Middle East, and he was so generous. He was freeing people. He had the first constitutional law, first constitutional law, first human rights laws for 2,500 years ago, and still today, that human rights laws are kept in a museum in UK. And because, because of an Abrahamic religion that Persian had, so we never had slaves in our history. We never had those stadiums that we enjoy and cheer, seeing slaves, gladiators kill each other, and feed them to wild animals. This is what they were doing in Greek and Rome, because they were pagans. They didn't have any, religion, true religion, God's guidance. So that's why I wish that people understand that what we have today is all because of God helped us, taught us to learn, to understand. Sorry. For example, those people who were going to stone an adulterer, and Jesus, peace be upon him, he even couldn't tell them that this is barbaric, don't do that, stop, what are you doing? So what he should do at that time was to put a condition that they cannot pass the condition. So he couldn't say that it's barbaric, don't do this, this is wrong, because people wouldn't understand. They would stone himself. So that's why he said the first stone must be thrown by the one who has no sin. So this is how slowly God's message was spread among people, and people were learning from those messages, God's message. And yes, I hope that people learn that not always everything was the same like today, and all we have is because of Abrahamic religions. I was saying to Neil that one of the greatest teachings, one of them, not great, but it was a great teaching Prophet Muhammad did, was stopping Arab pagans from bearing their daughters alive. And unfortunately, I've seen many times that people say that, oh no, it is not true. They don't believe, okay? They don't believe that it was the case at that time, that people were bearing their daughters alive. But I'm going to show you a short clip if I. It's a little bit difficult, but it was a short clip that from two men. Maybe I can show it in this way. I go to my channel, YouTube. I had a debate with Haris Sultan last year, and he was denying that people were burying their daughters alive 1400 years ago. And he was even denying that people bury their daughters today in 21st century. Okay. Let me see. I found it. I'm fixing it. Okay. Let me see here. I share again. And it is here.
Newborn baby girl buried alive at a grave. Police are searching for the parents. More on this one.
Pooja and her husband were digging a grave for their deceased daughter when their spade hit an earthen pot. What they found shocked them, a living baby girl crying inside. According to a government survey released in July, the number of girls is dwindling in India. Boys are preferred over girls because of employment prospects and patriarchal social norms. Police suspect that the burial of the discovered baby happened with the parents' consent. British medical journal The Lancet found that up to 12 million girls had been aborted in India over the last 3 decades.
12 million over the last 3 decades. Girls have been killed. And here we see India has killed 10 million girls in 20 years. And this is before or after birth. Okay, and then 10 million girls have been killed by their parents. Okay, all right. And here we see that police is cutting two men who are trying to bury a little girl. When he get caught, he start to play that he's sad or his daughter is dead. He says she's dead. They lied. They said the hospital said that she's dead. Anyway, let me see. Haris Sultan was saying that they don't bury.
It will be on my channel.
Let me see. Wait. He was saying that they don't bury their daughters alive. They didn't do it 1400 years
They're
ago.
not going to do this. Feel good. That's why you are happy to take those riwayats that they were bearing children. They're not going to do this. Nothing to do with Islam. No, they're not. They're not burying them alive. They're not burying them alive. They're not burying them alive.
So you hear he said they are not burying them alive. And I showed right now the video that they were burying their daughters alive.
They're not burying them gender of their baby, and that's what happened in China as well. And then they've been aborting where some people find out okay, it's a daughter instead of a boy, but they're not carrying them alive.
Okay, he saw that. He even doesn't believe that they are today in 21st century. It's just easy to Google, just to Google um, newborn girls being killed in India or buried alive in India. So Google it, you will see the videos. I found those videos from internet, from Google, and those reports, TV reports, that people bury their daughters alive. And he, of course, it's difficult for him when he doesn't know that in 21st century people do that. How he can believe that people were doing it 1400 years ago. So one of the greatest thing that Prophet Muhammad did was to stop Arab pagans from burying their daughters alive. People didn't know that. People didn't understand it. Even 21st century, they don't know. They don't understand it. So they are doing it. So that's why we need God. We need religion to teach us. I know, many people know, but there are people who don't know. Okay, I just wanted to show this part that Mr. Harris, yes, doesn't believe that people were burying their daughters alive 1400 years ago, and many, many other things that Islam, did, and we didn't know. Yeah, for example, one of them is women's rights. That 1400 years ago, women get equal rights in most parts and 50% in some parts, okay? While even 100 years ago in the West, women didn't have any rights, no right to vote, no right to inherit. But 1400 years ago, women in Islam, not only 5%, not 10%, but 50% rights to inherit and other things. And in many cases, they had equal rights like, front of God, to get reward or punishment absolutely equal as men. They were not discriminated for getting reward, or it's everywhere in Quran that they all get. And the best of us, front of God, is the one with the most sacrifice, or in Islam is taqwa, which is, for me, the interpretation of that is sacrifice. But somebody can interpret it as belief. So the best of us, front of God, is not a male or a female. Gender doesn't matter. It is the one who has the most, yes, belief and sacrifice for his beliefs. Okay. All right. I just wanted to say this. It was quite short. I wish that there was somebody who could call and ask, but it seems that nobody is there to call and ask. But I can talk about it later on my Saturday stream, Saturday 7 p.m. Central European Time. Okay. All right. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I will do this also again. I say goodbye to everybody.